For a 19th century mapmaker, the world was built from precise measurements and rigid facts. The scientific worldview of the era operated on a simple premise. If a location was meticulously charted in an official ledger, its existence was a certainty. This absolute trust in documentation led one mapmaker to Oakhaven. He found the name rendered in precise copperplate script, tucked between two jagged mountain peaks on an old geographic record. The archives provided a dense history of the village. Records listed taxes paid in crates of dried lavender, blue-tiled roofs, and a well famous for its taste of peppermint and iron. There were birth certificates for girls named Alara and death records for men who fell while pruning the town's ancient oaks. This mountain of data demanded physical verification. To the man of science, such specific, overlapping records were the ultimate proof of reality. He packed his transit and compass, determined to stand in the center of a town he had only known through ink. He arrived at the exact mathematical coordinates, set up his surveying equipment, and looked up, expecting to see the streets of Oakhaven. He found only the wind. There were no charred foundations or crumbling chimneys. There wasn't even a path worn into the dirt. Before him lay a high alpine meadow where the grass grew tall and indifferent. He stood in the silence and checked his instruments again. The ledger placed a bakery smelling of burnt sugar to his left and a blacksmith shop to his right. According to his geographic data, he was standing in the exact center of a busy market square that didn't exist. Just as he accepted the total failure of his data, a strange sensation prickled the back of his neck. He closed his eyes and for a split second smelled the sharp, sweet tang of peppermint. He was caught in a geographic paradox. The map was factually wrong, yet the physical environment seemed to be holding an impossible sensory memory of the missing village. He returned to the city and began an obsessive search. He traded his transit for the dusty basements of the National Archive, digging through forgotten files to find the source of the anomaly. His search eventually led him to the ghost folders, a hidden collection of cartographic secrets and suppressed histories. The files revealed Oakhaven's true nature. It was a deliberate fabrication, a settlement existing only within the folds of a map. This wasn't a mistake of the surveyors. It was a calculated manipulation of the data ecosystem, a ghost town summoned into the records for a specific purpose. In the 19th century, mapmakers lived in fear of copyright thieves, rivals who would simply copy a company's hard-earned surveys and sell them as their own work. To catch these thieves, master cartographers would invent a tiny fictional village and hide it among the real landmarks of a mountain range. They called these trap towns. If that fake village appeared on someone else's map, the theft was mathematically proven. A rival could claim they surveyed the same road, but they couldn't claim they surveyed a town that never existed. Oakhaven was the perfect trap. The mapmakers had seeded it with decades of mundane detail, the peppermint well, the lavender taxes, the names of local girls, to make the lie look like a boring, unquestionable truth. The village was a successful weapon of intellectual property, a lie constructed solely to protect the economic value of the real map. But as the mapmaker stared at the records, he noticed the trap town defense was beginning to mutate. The static, fake data of Oakhaven was actively changing. The population had grown. When he first found the ledger, it listed 30 residents. Now there were 42. He even found a record of a marriage between a fictional girl from Oakhaven and a very real boy from a neighboring town. In a found items bin, he discovered a leather-bound diary. It was a physical book filled with the handwritten daily complaints of a woman who claimed to be the Oakhaven schoolteacher. The line between a recorded lie and a physical object was beginning to fail. The fabricated data had started to generate its own artifacts, expanding the town's history without the help of a mapmaker's pen. He returned to the alpine meadow one last time. This time he left his surveying instruments behind and brought a shovel. He walked to the exact mathematical coordinates where the peppermint well was supposed to be and began to dig deep beneath the sod. He didn't find water. Instead, he uncovered a layer of physical blue tiles, looking as if they had been buried there for 1,000 years. A moment of wonder. He looked up and found the meadow transformed. Ancient oak trees, their branches heavy with the weight of unlived stories, cast long shadows over a village that was finally, stubbornly appearing. Maps are more than passive records of the earth. When an invented idea gathers enough weight through documentation and belief, the physical world yields to the pressure of the ink.